I'm very excited. I'm used to do these things, but it's never our event, never in San Francisco with a very talented, condensed group of the industry leaders. And we picked, I think, the right industry to talk about in the right time, in the right place. That's anything related to web discovery, even more specifically web search. And yeah, I get like my bar mitzvah vibes standing here right now, looking at all of this, on this group of people. So first of all, thank you so much for coming and attending, and also a huge thanks to the Bright Data marketing team that honestly, the only thing I did is to approve a budget and took a plane here, and that's an amazing event. So thanks everyone. And they warned me to be right on time, so I have a timer here, and I thought, what should I talk about? Because I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of partners, vendors, obviously a lot of customers that are using Bright Data to do what they're doing, to build their web discovery, web search products. So obviously I don't need to explain what we're doing, and anyway, that's not the goal of the event. So I thought, okay, let's just talk about Google. If we're talking about web access, web discovery, web search. And then I figured out I want to do it from a slightly different angle. Now, I'm not a lawyer, this is not a legal advice, but we do have some experience, let's call it this way, with the legal landscape of what it means to collect data from the web. And we had some new things happening in the world with the recent DOJ versus Google ruling, and it was a very long case, so I thought we're gonna analyze that together and kind of see what it means for the future of this group, actually, and it's gonna be a bright future. So before even talking about that, just a quick recap on Google from the data asset perspective. Obviously, you all know the company, but what they were able to achieve in the last 25, 30 years from a data perspective is amazing. They started just by doing the best search ever. Maybe one day, hopefully, some of the people in the crowd will change that and will take over. A lot of traffic that caused a lot of, or generated a lot of amazing revenues, mostly from ads, that got them to improve the ads and eventually to create more and more data assets that are coming from these products that everyone are using, if it's YouTube or Google Maps or anything else, in order to monetize through ads. And that's obviously an amazing business. And these are amazing products that we're all using every day, but it's also an amazing data asset for them. So they have everything that is related to text data, from Gmail, from Google Drive, even your calendars, images, that's Google Photos, Google Images, also in Drive, your own, the photos that you keep there. Same for videos, obviously YouTube, but also other assets like Google Photos, audio, search, e-commerce through Android and Google Shopping, local data through Google Maps, user behavior from the devices that you own and using, and from your activity on Chrome, and from looking at your calendar, what's not, expert knowledge, Google Scholar, physical data, now with all of the Waymos that you see on the streets that are mapping the world, IoT data through Google Home, and I can keep going. I think you got the point. And that is all the data assets that are fueling what they're doing now. Not just improving search, but obviously the whole AI revolution that they're also leading, and they are building these amazing products. But is anything going to change from Google perspective, which will obviously impact this group in the room, with what is currently happening in US court system, pretty much where everything is taking shape, specifically with the recent ruling, as I said, in the DOJ versus Google case. I'll just start with the answer. No, nothing is going to change, but that's actually a kind of a good news for us, and I'll get to it in the next following slides. So, what Google must share by the court ruling, and I will say that, as always, nothing is final, and every side is saying that they're going to appeal and all of that, but it was kind of a long journey and a long trial that eventually was ruled, and I read the whole thing, like 246 pages, just to understand what happened there. So the court or the judge forced Google to share a bunch of information that it's part of their secret sauce in a way with others. By the way, not yet. We'll get to it. So doc ID, a unique internal identifier they're using, and obviously the URLs that they're scraping, and the timestamp of which page was scraped when, the spam score, which is, again, another type of unique identifier that Google has developed, and marking each website, device flag, and user queries and clicks, a lot of technical understanding that is required to actually understand what this means in the context of indexing a lot of data to do good search. But yeah, they only need to share a snapshot of it and only need to do it once. And it's not even clear with who they should share it. It's not that they're going to publish it into the web. It's only going to be shared with someone. It's not clear who and when, if at all. What's excluded in the ruling or what they should not share and won't share. The page rank, which is their, like the essence of the algorithm. Navboot, another search ranking for different sites. Rank embed, semantic signals, ads and Gen AI data, which is obviously emerging, and everything else. So this is what they are not forced to share. Now, I'm not even getting into the discussion what's right and what's wrong, if it's a monopoly, if it's not a monopoly, if, you know, what's the right thing for the world. The point is that currently, what they need to share only once, some time with someone, is very little information. Holding that thought for a second, I want to explain why sharing that only once as a snapshot is absolutely useless. I mean, taking that back, not absolutely useless, but probably not what the court system or the DOJ wanted to achieve eventually. So this is a graph that the Bright Data CTO office created with a lot of external research and a lot of analysis of our own data and our own assets and products. And we can see that data decay is a really big problem. It means that if you don't get the data from the web and use it now, after a few days, somewhere between a day to a month, depending on the category, it's unusable. Okay? If you will get a snapshot of data coming from social media networks that was collected half a year ago, yeah, that's completely useless. If you got it today, you can actually put it to work. And news is just a week, and finance is around a month, and maybe e-commerce can work for longer. But getting real-time data, that's the essence of actually being able to build a good search index and a search tool and a web discovery product. And you can't really achieve that if you don't get the data right here, right now. Getting back to Google, if you're getting a static snapshot from I don't know when, that's not searchable. The remedy that Google got in court is a static snapshot. That's the summary of the ruling. And that's not really usable. But the judge, in my opinion, wasn't wrong with saying that quote, that rivals still must invest to build their own search index. It doesn't mean that you can compete with Google. And I think that many of the companies that are here today, that's their end goal. You can get that snapshot just to take a look into how they're thinking. And this was another quote by the same judge. That with this ruling, he thinks that he can balance the ask from DOJ and the ask from Google and kind of help the industry to evolve, because you will see and understand how Google think. This is why he limited to a snapshot. So you can understand better, and then you still need to work really, really, really hard to try and compete. And I actually think that this is a fair outcome. So it means that everyone, even if getting this information, still need to keep collecting the data and get it in real time and index it and rank it and do all of that in very large scale. And I think that overall the market opportunity is growing with or without this ruling. Just see this event, look around you, and see the quite amazing lineup of speakers that will be here right after me. It's just exploding right now. Finishing up with a few slides about the Bright Data scale that maybe a lot of you didn't know about even if working with us. So we are, or our customers are touching websites through our platform over 50 billion times a day. By the way, comparing to Google, that's like 3 times more of all of the search queries on Google globally, but distributed to the whole internet. And from that, we are keeping aside a chunk of that internet that we're able to map, and we're building an archive. We are parsing a lot of this information just because this is what our customer wanted to get. And we're doing that with a massive infrastructure that we're building for a decade, including a huge pool of browsers that are just scraping the web all the time. A year and a half ago, we started keeping a lot of this internet that we're seeing. We're going to end up 2025 with over 400 billion web pages in our archive, growing by over 3 billion pages a day. Talking about the data decay problem, that's not always useful. It can be very useful, for example, to train a model, but for a search API, that won't always work. You actually need to combine it with other real-time scraping solutions. And this is our current focus, and this is why also we're here today as Bright Data doing that, because we understand that having a copy of the internet is a nice asset to have, especially for what's going to happen with the search industry, and we invest a lot of resources in that. Finishing up with how we're seeing what's going on today in the world, in our world, and how do we see at least 2026, who knows what's going to happen after that. We're seeing that the old internet, and it's already becoming the old internet. That's web pages, HTMLs, the internet that we've been using for the past 25 years is becoming the infrastructure layer for the future internet. All of these chatbots that are already being used by us on a daily basis, sometimes more than just going direct to websites. This is not new. You all know that. You all use these tools. But what I'm seeing here with Bright Data and many of you guys here in the room is that we are, as a group, becoming the connecting layer between that old internet that holds the actual raw data to this new emerging internet that everyone are already using, but it's just going to keep growing. We're taking that data, we're processing it, we're pushing it up to the actual application layer, and you don't have AI without us. So I'll finish with that and say again, thank you for everyone who joined. This is the lineup for today. I think that we were really able to bring the group of the pioneers who are building this connecting layer to the future internet. And again, thank you for the Bright Data marketing team for arranging that. And I even finished right on time. So thanks for coming, everyone.